6 years after the bridge incident that led Michonne to believe that Rick was deceased, she is deeply immersed in her quest to reunite with him. With unwavering faith in her heart that her husband is still alive, she embarks on a lengthy journey to locate him. Along the way, Michonne aids 2 survivors and becomes part of their community. As she introduces herself to the group's leader, who expresses gratitude for her role in saving the 2 survivors, including her own sister, Michonne expresses her urgency to continue her search. She requests assistance to reach Bridger's terminal, the presumed location where Rick had last left his belongings on a boat. Despite the leader's efforts to persuade her to remain with their group, the survivors she rescued, Bailey and Aiden, insist on aiding Michonne in her quest. Another member of the community, Nat, bursts in with fearless energy. He is known for being outspoken and a brilliant inventor. Despite initially insisting on embarking on a search for Bailey and Aiden by himself, Nat is overjoyed to find them back safe at home. In this community, it seems they typically do not go back for those they lose, making Nat's relief palpable. He holds Michonne in high regard for her pivotal role in saving their companions. After some persuasion, Michonne decides to stay the night. Using her radio, she endeavors to send a heartfelt message to her and Rick's children back at their home base. The following morning, the community presents her with a horse and some essential weapons, bidding her farewell and wishing her success as she resumes her journey. Next day, Michonne charges towards a massive horde of walkers on horseback, armed with the unique weapon created by Nat known as the Scream Stick. She unleashes it into the midst of the walkers, triggering a spectacular explosion that engulfs the area in a mesmerizing fire, attracting the attention of the walkers. Amidst the chaos, a walker appears carrying 2 tanks of gasoline that detonate, causing debris to strike Michonne and send her tumbling from her horse. In a moment of dire peril, a sudden explosion erupts, diverting the attention of the walkers and creating a path through the crowd, akin to the parting of the Red Sea. Michonne glances back and witnesses Nat, Bailey, Aiden, and a sizable group from the community trailing behind her. It appears that they have chosen to diverge from the community's harsh methods and forge their own path alongside her. As night falls, they gather around a flickering fire, forming a bond of camaraderie. Observing the tender interactions between Bailey and Aiden, Michonne is taken aback to learn that Aiden is expecting a child. Despite Michonne's suggestion that they return, Aiden staunchly refuses. Their resolve is unwavering as they express their deep admiration for Michonne's unwavering quest to reunite with Rick and their determination to accompany her on this arduous journey. The group progresses further, with Michonne forming a closer bond with Nat and the rest. As they traverse an uninhabited town, a CRM helicopter appears overhead. Suddenly, it circles back and releases multiple chemical bombs, creating clouds of hazardous smoke around them. Chaos ensues as the group scatters, fleeing and struggling to breathe. The deadly effects of the bombs turn many into walkers, their eerie moans and screams filling the air. In a desperate attempt to escape, Michonne, Nat, Bailey, and Aiden find refuge in an abandoned furniture store. In the store, their situation worsens as they struggle to breathe from the effects of the chlorine bomb. Aiden suffers the most, prompting Michonne to instruct Bailey to secure her to the bed before she dashes to the nearby medical plaza for help. With her last breath, Aiden urges Michonne to prioritize her children and leave Rick behind. Despite the plea, Michonne rushes off for assistance. Upon her return, a heart-wrenching scene unfolds before her eyes. Aiden, now a walker, remains restrained on the bed, having succumbed in her absence. In the adjacent room, Bailey has also turned, attempting to reach Nat, who has ignited a fire for protection. Michonne is forced to end the lives of Aiden and Bailey before finding Nat barely clinging to life. Michonne and Nat gradually recover their health over what seems to be a period of several days. They breathe clean oxygen from gas tanks, and Michonne begins to recondition her body. As they bond during this time, Nat starts to feel despondent. Michonne remains determined to carry on with her mission. Once they are both strong again, Nat insists on accompanying Michonne. Together, they head towards Bridger's terminal, pulling a small cart of supplies with the help of a walker. Upon reaching the terminal, Michonne rushes to search for any traces of Rick. What she encounters is a scene of horror. Charred bodies strewn about, abandoned ships, and utter silence with no signs of life anywhere. In a state of desperation, Michonne meticulously examines each body, hoping to find Rick among them. Nat, however, points out the futility of such a task considering their condition. Overwhelmed, Michonne sits, clutching Rick's boots, traumatized by the situation. Eventually, after enduring so much, she reaches a breaking point. Convinced that Rick would have returned if he were alive, she collapses in tears, accepting the likelihood of his death. But now it is Nat who holds on to hope. He consoles Michonne, reassuring her that it's possible to both return home to her children and believe that Rick may still be alive somewhere. He encourages her to embrace both possibilities, offering his support to accompany her on this journey. We find Michonne and Nat in the present moment, making their way back home when they spot a CRM helicopter approaching them. Driven by a desire to seek justice for their lost companions, they prepare to confront the incoming threat. Nat arms himself with more explosives, takes aim, and shoots at the helicopter, causing it to crash into the nearby woods. Michonne takes the lead, swiftly eliminating the masked CRM soldiers with her katana, each strike triggering memories of Bailey and Aiden. As she battles her way through the enemies, she finally reaches the last opponent standing. Despite his resistance, Michonne gains the upper hand, bringing him down to the ground. Ready to strike the final blow, she removes his helmet, only to come face to face with Rick's familiar gaze staring back at her. Desperate to escape the approaching danger, Michonne and Rick share a tearful reunion, with Michonne expressing her relief at finally finding him. Rick, clad in CRM attire, assures her that he is not aligned with the CRM and warns of more impending threats. Realizing they have no means of evading capture, Rick proposes a risky plan for them to feign ignorance of each other's relationship and accompany him back to the CRM camp for a chance at survival. He cautions Michonne against revealing her true strength, as it may lead to dire consequences. Reluctantly, Michonne agrees to his plan. Suddenly, Nat arrives at the scene, shocked to see Michonne reunited with Rick. Tragedy unfolds when a wounded CRM soldier, still alive, rises and fatally shoots Nat. Michonne cradles Nat in her arms as he passes away, grief-stricken yet compelled to act quickly as the CRM forces draw nearer. Rick takes charge, concealing Michonne's identity and possessions to ensure their safety. As another helicopter approaches, Michonne, uncertain of the future but overjoyed to be reunited with Rick, braces herself for the unknown journey ahead. As Michonne stands before a committee within the CRM facility, she introduces herself under an alias and weaves a fabricated tale of her survival, skillfully evading their inquiries with falsehoods. The committee records her deposition, probing into her past and experiences, to which she responds with a web of deceit. Subsequently, she is granted access to the base, donned in a consignee uniform. Sneaking away with Rick into a secluded garage, they share a heartfelt embrace. In their intimate reunion, Rick inquires about Judith, sparking a moment of hesitation in Michonne as she nearly divulges the existence of their son, born after his mysterious disappearance. However, she restrains herself, promising to unveil the truth once they are safe at home. Amid their emotional exchange, Rick assures Michonne that he has refrained from taking lives on behalf of the CRM, despite their notorious reputation for such actions. Navigating conflicting desires, Michonne harbors a fervent wish to thwart the CRM's malevolent agenda, while Rick acknowledges the futility of such a goal. In a symbolic gesture, Rick presents Michonne with Nat's lighter, a memento he clandestinely retrieved from their fallen comrade before departing, encapsulating their shared history and camaraderie. At the culmination of the episode, Michonne ventures through the confines of the base, ascending to a vantage point to grasp the sheer scale of the ominous CRM operation. Engaging with Nat's lighter, a glint of determination flickers in her eyes, hinting at clandestine plans taking shape in her mind. Simultaneously, an enigmatic figure clandestinely observes footage of Michonne's falsified testimony before stealthily infiltrating Rick's quarters. As Rick unsuspectingly enters the room, he is startled to find Jadis seated within. With an unsettling air of familiarity, Jadis discloses her knowledge of Michonne's true identity, the covert assault orchestrated by Michonne and Nat on the CRM helicopter, casting a shadow of apprehension over Rick. In a chilling revelation, Jadis forewarns Rick that any endeavor to break free from the CRM's clutches will trigger a cascade of dire consequences, threatening to extinguish the lives of all they hold dear. As tension swells and alliances fray, the stage is set for an intricate web of deceit, loyalty, and survival in the face of looming peril.